we're talking about
Cyrus and Carlisle.
No, this is about Star Wars. So no.
Okay. I'm sorry. We'll replace Star Wars with whatever it is that you
anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, okay, yeah. Me, Cyrus, and everybody who reads this fucking site.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, there's some people who just stumble upon it. Granted, they only stay for a minute, but
And
you know, they're there. But
this was sports.
Now, I could have swore this Fanboys. Didn't William Shatner make the same movie like a few years ago?
No, that was a completely different film. You're thinking of Free Enterprise.
I am thinking of Free Enterprise.
But no, this is
same thing, different name.
No, it's a
come on.
This is a completely
Look at see, that's a fanboy for you. No, it's not. You
Star Trek is better.
Now, what we have here is a road comedy. And this is pretty much your classic road comedy that follows all the road comedy tropes. But the idea is that a bunch of fanboys kind of grow up together. One kind of leaves the group and goes off and does his own thing.
Gets a life.
And then he finds out that his best friend growing up is dying of cancer and he's probably going to die a few months before episode 1 is released. And so they decide to go on a road trip.
I'm sorry. It's just so sad because he would have been better off dying before.
I know.
Hold on.
I don't want to
hold
say
on.
anything,
He'd have died
yeah.
going like, oh, I missed the greatest movie ever.
Yeah, see,
Hopefully he'll slip into a coma where he's like envisioning in his dream state the movie we all actually wanted to see, as opposed to the piece of dreck we ended
Right.
up with.
In his morphine dreams, that movie was so much better than the actual episode 1.
Yeah.
of course, those concepts are dealt with in this movie.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, those jokes are there, and there's plenty of stuff there at the end that kind of deals with this. But the basic premise is that since he's dying, they decide to go on a cross-country road trip to break into Lucas's Skywalker Ranch and steal a print of Episode 1 so that they can all watch it together as friends before he passes away.
Totally feasible.
Yeah.
No, totally.
I'd do the same thing.
Totally
Yeah,
not
exactly.
feasible at all. In fact, it plays by all the road movie rules, but it's still funny because
Yeah.
it's a lot of great Star Wars geek jokes.
Okay, and now I hadn't seen this, but if it plays by all the road movie rules, that means there's got to be a scene where they get chased by rednecks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's and they go to jail.
They go to jail. There's a
they
big
get
black
robbed,
man that assaults them. They're scared of.
And there's a scene in which one of them gets their ass kicked by Mr. Harry Knowles.
Well,
Really?
An actor
Wait,
play.
again,
okay.
a fantasy.
Okay, I was going to say, like, how's a guy who can't get out of a wheelchair
Now
gonna
hold
kick
on.
somebody's ass?
This is Harry Knowles in 1998.
Still.
Oh, okay.
When he was
Still,
on
Well, he was bionic back then.
No, he didn't suffer his injury until 2002. So
Okay,
he was
fair
still walking around, and he could have kicked the crap out of this kid, or so the movie says.
So the movie says.
So the movie said. But so they do end up in Austin. They travel all across the country to all sorts of geek landmarks, and there's a bunch of great young comedians peppered throughout this thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a funny
Wait,
movie.
in Austin, great young comedians?
No.
Come on.
No,
you stretch reality.
they're
I'm talking
in
about like
California,
Seth
you know,
Rogen's in the film.
Leon
and
has heckled every comedian in there.
Yeah, exactly.
tell some jokes.
In fact, we're going to make a road trip where we actually heckle everybody in every state.
That's cool. That's a good idea. You just call it heckle. Big
But
aggressive lettering.
See, you are right. That's my problem with this movie. There's two things that this movie does that really, me not being a fanboy in particular, cannot. Really,
Whatever.
Okay, just because. Wait a minute. What is it that?
Now, if I was if the co-host was dying of rust and wanted to see the next Dawn of the Dead, that would be you taking him to break into the studio.
but
to
I'll
see
be
that.
doing that for him.
You'll be doing it for your damn self. 'Cause in the final end, he probably ended up sitting in the car while you watched it. You
We
kept on
ain't
going,
talking about me. We talking about
Charles
this movie.
Schultz
co-host,
is still
you should have seen
alive.
it. It was badass, man. I was supposed to bring you in there, wasn't I? Damn.
Charles Schultz was
My
still
bad.
alive, and he was doing like Peanuts early days cartoon.
See, y'all don't understand that I made a road trip to go visit Charles Schultz. He died halfway there before I got there, so I turned right back around.
He
But
died
no.
when he found out you were coming. Going, man, I better hurry this
Oh
up.
shit, that Negro's coming. But no, this movie has every cliche of a road trip movie in there, and some of it is actually funny.
Yeah.
Some things that I thought were too cliched actually worked in this movie. The whole thing about the Star Wars geeks versus the Star Trek geeks. That made me laugh my ass off in this
That
movie.
had to be fun.
And it's
when-
because
well-
the guy who played Kirk, was it the guy who was supposed to be Kirk? That guy was funny. I don't
The guy who was playing. You mean of the fans? That was Seth Rogen.
No, not the fans. I'm talking about the guy when they when they get in front of the statue and they have it's the guys who are trying to do the Star Trek tour.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
Seth
lead-
Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
That's Seth Rogen in that part?
Now, keep in mind that this movie was shot a few years ago and has had all sorts of trouble because it's been hopping back and forth between producers. There was a point where several of the producers of Judd Apatow's films came on board, and they wanted to cut the whole cancer storyline altogether. They said, that's depressing. Nobody wants to see that. And everyone was kind of like, dude, that's kind of the point of the whole movie. This movie's bounced around a lot.
So wait a minute. Is Seth Rogen playing 2 roles in this movie then?
Yeah, he's in it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's the redneck boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then he's okay. So
In fact,
I didn't know
thought
that
he was in here 3 times.
He might be.
Oh well, he was funny as that Star Trek nerd,
it's funny
man.
because you remember those documentaries, Trekkies?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, love that.
That guy is the super hardcore Trekkie. From
Oh
the
yeah,
first
he comes
one.
on with his teeth hanging all out. And he's like, on this spot right here, Leonard Nimoy himself came and blessed the statue. Now I'm paraphrasing, but but it's funny. And they get into a fight, and he's doing all the dun 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 dun, dun and it's like,
He's
okay,
not,
yeah.
he's not gay. He's British.
Oh yeah, I didn't think that that could be funny anymore, but it is. Yeah. But then they go into some other things where, as we said, they run to the cops, they run to the boyfriends, they run to the rednecks, they run into all. They have
William Shatner.
They had the car chase. I mean, and I just found all that kind of. Well, I've seen this in every road trip movie, and some people do it funny and some people don't. This did it kind of mid level for me. The other thing though is that I have heard, thanks to mainly to Kevin Smith, I have heard every Star Trek reference and joke you could do in a film.
Star Wars.
I'm sorry, Star Wars joke you can do in a film. In this movie, that they cover everything that's pretty much already been done, and there's probably 1 or 2 clever jokes in there, visual gags. They run to a sign and it says something like "Feel the Force" or something like that because they took out some words.
Well, it sounds like, according to Carlisle, it's not the movie's fault. If it was done years ago,
It was written years ago. I remember they had an article in the Statesman where the guy had just started writing it, and they did an article about it, and I was like,
damn.
I was like, wow, yeah.
Ernie wrote this thing.
Ernie Klein, the director.
The writer, the screenwriter.
Okay.
He lives here in Austin. Most of us know him. He's been around forever. He wrote this script back in 1998, before Phantom Menace was released.
Yeah.
Damn.
And-
So he's had 10 years to watch his jokes just get ticked off.
Yeah,
one
and
by
the thing
one.
is
Yeah.
it kept getting picked up and shuffled around and done and not done. And this thing had so many false starts. It finally got made, and then there were issues. There have been 3 different guys who have played Harry Knowles. In the various
Who'd they end up with?
Ethan Suplee or Suplee?
From
I don't know. You know.
My
My Name is
Earl.
Earl.
My Name is Earl. Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I think people who are really going to get are those people who are fanboys.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
it's a titular movie, all right. If you look at the title and it warms the cockles of your heart, you go, "That's me."
You just mentioned
Then
cock
should
and
come
tits in the same sentence.
Cockles,
Cockles.
cockles.
He's gonna work that in there one way or another.
Titular.
He's like, okay, I'm not gonna say cock anymore. I'll say cockles.
Whatever. You know how this is like Batman.
Yeah. Why do I think he's secretly in his nightlife? He's Cockles the Clown. Hi, kids, it's me, Cockles. You want to see my Cockles?
He's
Got
scared.
dildos for halves.
I know he's coming in there. Every balloon animal is just a straight balloon.
There you go.
Check it out.
Give this to your mom. She'll know what to do with it.
But no, man, you're right. I mean, I think that this movie has a very specific crowd because those people, like me, I've heard every Star Wars joke. I don't find them funny because I don't find Star Wars amusing anymore. People who love Star Wars and people who are fanboys, they won't mind. And and what really made me laugh in this movie, though, when they finally get to Skywalker Ranch, we're thinking a big palace, George Lucas's statue everywhere.
Yeah.
And they bust into a fucking Days Inn. It's like it's a campsite, pretty much.
Oh.
When you get there, you could tell they didn't have any money to like really make Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, okay. So this
he
is
went
the
to
best they could do.
Yeah, there's like a camping ground that they went to.
They all collected all the fanboys on the set, brought in all their best collectibles that they had, and they decorated their tiny little set with them. The coolest thing, though, is the guards at Skywalker Ranch all have THX 1138 policeman masks on.
Nice.
So that was a nice touch. And there are like the best jokes in this movie are the in jokes, the ones they don't even bother explaining like that. You know, they're clever little bits like that. But you're absolutely right, Corey. This is just another road movie, and that really hurts it. You know, all those, God damn it, how many times do we have to see this exact same shit play out? It's not till they really get to the Skywalker Ranch that I started really laughing a lot at this. You know, that being said, watching it, you can't help but remember how much funnier this would have been if it had come out when it was supposed to. And I still have to give it a matinee for that. You know, just go... It's all well-intentioned. It's just I think I'm too old for this.
I think if you're not a Star Wars fan, if you're not a sci-fi fan at all, this is a matinee film. It's cute. It's funny. You'll watch it and go, oh, hey, you know, that was a good time. But if you are a fanboy of any kind, it is a full price film. It really is a very entertaining film. I found it really funny. I was laughing throughout. It does hit on all the cliches, and it was kind of accentuated even more since we had several road movies come out last year.
I was going to ask, how does it compare to Sex Drive?
It is, for all intents and purposes, the same film with geek jokes instead of sex jokes.
Okay.
I mean, it really does hit all the same points on the same beats. And it's one of those films. I don't get tired of road trip movie films. I kind of hate that they all have the same cliches, but if the jokes are good, I'll enjoy it. I put this up there with Sex Drive. I give it a full price, unless you're not a hardcore geek of any kind, at which point I'd say it's a matinee film.
I've seen this shit before. If I hadn't seen Sex Drive, I would probably say this is a matinee. I'm gonna give it a rental because like I said, I've seen it all before, and I'm sick and tired of Star Wars jokes. You can't tell me a Star Wars parody, a joke, or reference I haven't heard yet, and it's getting lame now. I will give this movie some credit though. When I first read about the premise to this, it was years ago. You're right. It was before Episode 1 came out, and I thought, wow, now if they can get this shit out before the movie comes out, they could ride that wave, and this is a really clever idea. It really doesn't work as strong now that Episode 1 is out because the biggest
Episode 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. That joke's got old 3 times. I mean, we got the actual product there, so we don't need no fucking movie about this. Because I was looking at thinking about these guys driving towards Skywalker Ranch. We're thinking these dumbasses.
Yeah, you just want to like, hey, come in. I'm from the future. Don't go see this movie.
Exactly.
Even though there is a reference to that at the very end, like the last joke of the film is a thing like, going like, okay, and you could take it either way. If you're a fan of the prequels, it's not going to offend you. If you hate them, you'll laugh. But at the same time, it diffuses all the excitement of the movie, knowing that this whole thing is awful. What a terrible thing. A real, the guy's like in his mid-20s. There's no way he liked the first movie when he saw it.
Now, I kind of have to disagree with you. There's this moment here that you're forgetting about at the campfire where the guy has seen it. I mean, we can't say too much, but they start having a conversation about the film, and it kind of gets out the whole theme that is very much after the fact that these movies have come out. And obviously the rewrites over time has led to this really cool kind of concept that they wrestle with there at the end. And I really like the final scene around the campfire and what that does to everything we're talking about now. I can't ruin too much, but it really is a good segment, and I really do think they do a lot more with it than just that one joke at the end.
Something very scary has occurred to me throughout this conversation. Well, we've been talking about this movie here and Road Trip, and then there was the Harold and Kumar too. I mean, how long is it before Zucker makes a road trip?
Oh no, before
movie. Yeah.
I just don't want him to do space movie.
The Fuckberg and Seltzer, they'll be the ones to tap on this. Wow, we have a whole wealth of movies here. So they're probably listening to this right now. A common theme, we got a movie.
Now hold on. Now
next week.
No. You guys, this is where you guys don't get it. I'm telling you, Friedberg and Seltzer are not that smart.
Funberg and Seltzer.
Yeah. No, the thing is that these guys, they don't go, oh, we have a common theme here. That's not how they work.
That's true. They just string together.
They take one movie, and because these are the guys who worked on Scary Movie and saw that Scary Movie. They were 2 of the 6 writers, and they said, oh wow, all you have to do is rewrite the script to one successful movie and throw in as many pop culture references as you can, and you have a movie. And that's all they've done. Disaster Movie was just Cloverfield.
Even there though, there's really no discernible plot. They talk about it as if it was, and yet there's no real.
Well,
plot.
for this particular movie right here, man, I speaking of all these films that we mentioned probably about 3 movies that I thought were great road trip movies, and the thing that worked about them is that they pushed it. They were rated R, and they were able to just go overboard. And I think this movie, it probably doesn't work for me because it's a little calm. I mean, it's even trying to be sweet. They got a kid, with cancer. The perfect ending for me in this movie would have been him having seen the movie, and the next day they see him at a campground hung from a tree because he hung himself after seeing it. He was like, I couldn't take this shit.
Well, this was one of the things with making the movie. It was that Lucas gave them full access to all the sound effects, gave them full access to everything they need that was Star Wars related to make the film, invited them all out to Skywalker Ranch so they could do a bunch of research and get access to all sorts of stuff.
He should let them shoot out there.
Do everything but shoot out there.
But that goddamn hotel.
He doesn't allow shooting on the premises of Skywalker Ranch.
Well, like I said, he should.
But the point is that the stipulation of doing all that was that the film had to be rated PG-13. That in order to have access to all that, they could not make a rated R Star Wars
He fucked up another movie with somebody. I mean, he should at least let them have like access to the CG people so they can make that Hotel 6 look like an actual Skywalker Ranch.
Something.
Something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That shit looked like a rest stop.
I would have preferred, you digitally do everything else in your movies. You couldn't loan him the green screen and, have him walk into like the forest of Endor inside of his mansion.
I mean, the only thing was missing from that fucking building were little glory holes on the wall. That shit,
man.
Goddamn.
Well, I don't know.
What? Wait, whoa.
'Cause that shit
What
look like
fucking Motel 6 have you been
That shit
going
look like
to?
a rest stop. That shit, what's his name?
Fucking
goddamn-
glory holes?
Goddamn,
What?
they
No,
should have
no,
had
no,
some
no, no.
gay senator up there or something. What's that dude from Wham?
Let's
George
go.
Michael and
George
Larry
Michael
Craig.
should have been walking by in the background.
You want to see my lightsaber?
Well, I will say, like, look, you guys, if I do get cancer and I'm terminal, please take me to see the prequels, because at that point I'll be like, you know what,
I'm ready.
I can
to go.
die now.
Yeah, ready to go.
Before we end this, I will be fair here and say that the cast of this movie, pretty much people that aren't known that well. I mean, I'm looking at their names right now. That's why I was looking up their names. Sam Huntington, Chris Marquette, Dan Fogel, who we've seen in things like
He's been appearing a lot.
yeah,
in the
Balls
last
of Fury and
year or
stuff.
so.
Yeah, what's her name? Kristen Bell. They all they give the sense of friendship in this movie.
And
which
Jay
actually-
Baruchel.
And what's her name? Kristen Bell, though. I mean, she's a geek goddess right now, and she fits perfectly into this movie. And when you saw, I know I was excited about this when they posted pictures of her in the slave Leia outfit. I was like, man, I don't care how I feel about the Star Wars movies. I'm first in line for this. one.
Yeah, but you see, but you love her so much. There was a point in time where you had Maxim pinups of her on your wall next to your
What do you
computer.
mean point in time?
Has that returned?
Well, they're all covered
yeah.
in stains now.
When she left, she got off the set and like, I can't wait to get the stench of geek off me. Fuck.
And she took off her clothes. Tell me about that. Tell me about when she took a shower, Corey.
when them silkwood baths with a wire brush.
Yeah, she's in the shower crying.
Guys in hazmat suits scraping her down.
Princess Leia, Lando Calrissian, Darth Maul, Shooter McGavin, the warehouse guy from The Office, the guy from Tropic Thunder, Jay, the guy from Die Hard 4, the hot chick from Sin City, and Captain James T. Kirk.
Friend of yours?
Fanboys.